All right. Hello again, everybody. My name is Vanessa Taylor Sands, but you can just call me Vanessa. And as I mentioned at the top of this, I am here to talk to you about TV animation development, which is basically how a television show gets made. Before we get started, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about Dreamworks, and we'll watch a video because that's always fun. So I'm originally from New York, and I now live in Los Angeles, and I work at Dreamworks Animation Television in Glendale. And a little bit about me, I went to school in Wisconsin at the University of Wisconsin, and I graduated with a TV and film degree. And my first job in television was at MTV, where I worked in live action television. It took me a little bit to get into animation. So I worked at MTV for 2 years. And it was really fun. I got to learn about how live action works, directing, and working with celebrity talent and VJs. And after MTV, I went to work at Nickelodeon. I'm sure some of you know who Nickelodeon is. And specifically, I worked at Nick Jr. Nick Jr. makes shows for kids 2 to 5 years old. You may know some of the shows I worked on. I worked on Dora the Explorer, Bubble Guppies, the Fresh Meat Band, the Backyardigans, Dino Dan, to name just a few. At Nick Jr. is when I fell in love with animation. I believe that animation is where we make friends on TV for kids of all ages. My next job was at Spin Master. They are actually a toy company, and you probably know their show Paw Patrol. It was really interesting to work and learn about how toys and television work together. Yes, I worked on Paw Patrol for probably 5 years at Nickelodeon and at Spin Master. It was great. And now I work at Dreamworks, and Dreamworks Animation makes both TV and film, and I specifically work in the TV department. You might know some of the movies that Dreamworks makes: Shrek, Madagascar, Trolls, How to Train Your Dragon, and Puss in Boots. So the Dreamworks studio has been around for almost 30 years making movies and 10 years making television. Our first 2D film was Prince of Egypt. Our first CG film was Shrek. And our first TV show was Turbo Fast, which aired on Netflix. In 2016, we were purchased by NBC Universal. The TV division of Dreamworks has released over 40 animated series to date, with many more to come. We make shows for kids and adults, from preschoolers to 6 to 11 to teen. And as I mentioned, I specifically focus on TV shows for kids 2 to 7 years old. And before I go into TV development a little bit more, I want to show you a sizzle of some of our TV and film work. So enjoy.
Hey, do you want to see something cool? Jackpot! Yes!
Let's get this party started!
Nice.
Here, we stick together.
Yeah, colorful, characterful. From ogres to dinosaurs. From
I'll leave this up unmuted.
Welcome here. This is so good, Mrs. Better Mom.
You're eating the flower arrangement.
I've lost and stolen, brought me here with my eyes open. Now I understand what I'm missing. Let's go! Hey, hold your horses. I'm sorry, is that offensive? Never felt more, never felt more.
I'm ready to see that situation change.
You have been chosen. What?
I was the first to believe in you, and I have watched you doubt whether you're worthy of resistance. But you know what? I am the person I am today because of you.
You never give up. You see things through. When you only have one life, that's what makes it special.
That's it, baby. Tra-la-la.
Here's to the legends that shaped us. The creativity that drives us.
You mess with the wrong crew.
And the future that we're building every day.
Get ready to feel the thunder.
Believe in yourself. That's the spirit.
This is our moment. Drink it in. Nice work, everybody. Now let's make like a wolf and get the pack out of here.
Hey, you want to see something cool? Jackpot!
Sorry. I hope that everyone got to see some of their shows that they know and movies that they've seen before. There's a lot of clapping. That's so exciting. So as I mentioned, I work in TV development, and you might be wondering, what is development? And it's a great question. And to be honest, when I started working in TV development and animation in general, I actually didn't know what it was. It's sort of the hidden work of television and film. So development is the process of crafting and molding the seed of an idea into a full-fledged series. And in our case at Dreamworks, we pitch it out to all the various platforms, and then we put it into production. We are hunters and gatherers, network creatives, and always on the lookout for the next big idea or finding the next big talent. A little bit more fun of a way that I like to say is that our job is to pop the popcorn. The show is the kernel, and once it's sold and the popcorn is ready, you get to enjoy it in the TV or in the theater. And we currently have about 80 projects in development. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go through the general steps in the development process from the first time we hear or see an idea all the way through pickup and handoff to current series. You're going to see also the visual development process, which is my favorite. The entire development process for a TV show can take anywhere from 8 months to 2 years and sometimes more. We work on multiple projects at once, and we do the same process for every project, although every show is a unicorn, and every project is at a different stage that we're working on. In addition to developing series, we are networking, meeting with writers and agents and artists, and we're always on the lookout for new talent. We're also keeping up with what is going on in our industry. I watch a lot of television, specifically kids shows. I watch the ones that we make, and I watch the ones that our competitors make. So first up is the big idea. You have to start with a big idea to make a show. And we start with, let's make a show about cats. Or we could say, let's make a show off of the How to Train Your Dragon movie. There are lots of ways to find an idea for a TV show, but they fall under two main buckets: external ideas and internal ideas. An external idea is something where we take pitches from creative talent, including writers, animators, directors, and celebrity talent. Another way to get external ideas is from book properties or video games. And also you can even do board games or toys. About a third of our projects are book-based, and in shows for kids 2 to 5 years old, that jumps to almost 60%. Dreamworks Animation Television got started because we had a very large deal with Netflix. And what we did was we sort of looked at our movie library and said, you know what? How to Train Your Dragon would make a great movie. Penguins of Madagascar would make a great television show. Kung Fu Panda, we should make a television show out of that. So DreamWorks really grew out of making TV shows from their DreamWorks film properties. And it's still something we do now. When you have a property that people love and rich characters, why not find new ways to bring those characters to an audience? And now that we're part of Universal, we can do that with Universal properties as well. One of my favorite shows is Camp Cretaceous, which is based off of Jurassic Park. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it is definitely worth checking out on Netflix. And also, there's Madagascar A Little Wild, which is something that was my first development project when I started at DreamWorks. And I'm going to use that as sort of a case study to walk you through how we developed and pitched the show. So, welcome to Madagascar. You're probably familiar with this incredibly funny franchise. The first movie released in 2005 introduced us to the fierce, foursome, and spirited, lovable, hilarious Central Park animals, Alex the lion, Marty the zebra, Melman the giraffe, and Gloria the hippo. They spent their lives in the comfy quarters of Central Park, only to find themselves shipwrecked on the island of Madagascar, needing to find a way home. The 3 Madagascar movies grossed over $2 billion at the box office. Although both the Penguins and King Julian as breakout characters had their own series, we'd never seen the 4 amazing main characters on the small screen until now. So when we developed Madagascar A Little Wild, we wanted to take the younger Marty, Melman, Alex, and Gloria and make them younger versions of themselves. So Madagascar A Little Wild is the musical comedy series featuring the 4 main characters from the hit movie franchise. The show follows our gang as they enjoy fun, friendship, and adventure in their habitat home, all in the wilds of New York City. They travel through a series of tunnels, wrapped up in the endearing humor and physical comedy that made the movie so popular. It also features original songs. A Little Wild celebrates being yourself, never giving up, and pursuing your dreams with abandon. And I'm going to use Madagascar as an example of how we can pitch a series to a platform network. So the first step when you realize that you want to pitch a show is to craft the idea. We have to collaborate with writers and directors and artists to use the materials we'll use to create for the pitch. On Madagascar, we worked closely with a writer. His name is Dana Starfield. And what she does is she creates a Bible. It's the first step in the process. This is a deep dive into the vision of the series, and it includes an in-depth synopsis of what the show is, descriptions of the world and where the show takes place, descriptions of the characters and their traits and often catchphrases, and thoughts on the tone of the show. It will also include episode ideas. If there isn't already strong leanings one way or another, at this point, we'll also decide if the series is going to be 11 minutes, 22 minutes, if it should be 2D or CG, and if it's board-driven or script-driven. These decisions are all based on multiple creative and business factors. For Madagascar example, the show started out being 11 minutes. We went to 22 minutes, then we went back to 11 minutes, and we finally landed on 22 minutes again. And that was because the show has a lot of music in it, and we realized we needed the time. Also with this process, we're working with other departments at DreamWorks, such as recruiting, casting, and music. They help us with any needs that we have, and we're constantly checking in with our bosses and other key department heads as necessary to make sure the series is on path with what everyone is happy with. And then visual development is one of the most exciting parts of the process for me. It's where a show really gets to come to life. So we're going to start with background designs. And as you probably know, Madagascar takes place in New York City. So this is an image of how we imagined New York City could look like in the show. And I'm going to have a clip of the series later on, and you'll see things might have changed just a little bit. So when we're doing visual development, we're not really creating exactly what the show is going to look like. We're just giving people a good idea. Next up, one of the things we wanted to create for Madagascar a Little Wild was a habitat. In the movies, the animals were in separate areas of the zoo. But in our series, the whole crew hangs out together in a habitat. But each animal has their own space to relax and play that fits most with the activities they like. The gang can use a vine zip line and go through to visit their friends. And characters like to come and hang out on the tree. And the tree is the main hangout for the 4 main characters. It's where they dream up adventures and where they're always happy to come and hang out. So you can see this is a black and white sketch of the habitat. And then we go to a color version. And then this is a sort of idea of what it would look like in the show. So if you see, going from here to here is a pretty big leap. We have to do a lot of visual development, and I can tell you that the habitat got a lot bigger once it went into production. And next up is character design. So when developing the show of Madagascar, we knew we wanted to add some new characters that weren't in the movies. And one of those was Kate. Kate is new to the Madagascar world, and she's the main human in the show. And she pretty much has the best job in the world. She takes care of baby animals. She's real bubbly and optimistic and is also into animal biology. So again, this is a rough design of Kate. And then we did some color exploration and shape language exploration. And then once we sold the show, this is what she looks like on TV. So again, you can see that there's a big difference between what she looks like here and what she looks like on the TV show. One of the main ones is the color of her outfit. It went from green to purple. Okay, finally, we knew we needed to make the characters from the movie younger. We took inspiration from the movies and landed on designs, but they changed as we went into series. So something that Madagascar has is called the whack factor, which means everything in the movies is a little bit off kilter. So that's something we translated into the TV show. So this is what the characters looked like in the movie. This was our initial visual development when we pitched the show. You can see here that Gloria the hippo is wearing a tutu and a leotard. But when we made it to the TV show, we removed the leotard and just kept the tutu. We decided we liked it better. And we also changed the color of the eyes of Alex. And everyone got a little bit furrier, which is much more satisfying for television. So the other thing that we knew we wanted to do when we were pitching the show is create a music video. This show has 4 different songs across each episode. And so we wanted to create a music video to give a look and feel of what it could look like for series. So we spent about 6 months making this music video before we pitched it out to platforms. And this is the music video we made to pitch the show.
I landed in New York by chance. I didn't have a choice, but I found a city where a small cat has a voice. Ooh, this place has got me feeling twinkly in my toes. We finally found a city where the doors don't ever close. One day, I'ma wear a badge and I'm gonna get a clue. And when they ask me what's my favorite color, say NYPD blue. We're gonna together forever and ever. New York, New York. Shoot for the stars. Unstoppable all-star team. We're living out all our dreams. New York, New York. Best city in the world.
So a little bit of insight into this, because this is where we really got to work with multiple teams at Dreamworks, mainly our casting and our music team. So we have one of the best music teams, I think, in the industry. We have a lot of music in our series and movies. And so we worked with our music team to create a song, and then we cast actors to sing it. And something to know is that all of the actors we cast for this test were actually in the TV show. I I think. Oh no, only one of them. One of them we recast for the television show, but Gloria, Marty, and Melman, who isn't in the test, we all reused in the TV show. So that's just a way that we all work together. And another fact is that this song actually got revised and never appeared in the show. So sometimes we do some work in development that we don't see in the production, which is okay.
I landed in your budget.
Sorry. So after we create the pitch, which ends up being a 26-page PowerPoint presentation with tons of art, and we write a pitch script and our writer pitches it, what we do is we take it out to all the various platforms. So Dreamworks does not have a platform that we air our content on exclusively. We can pitch to Hulu, Peacock, Disney, Nickelodeon, Netflix, Cartoon Network, HBO Max. The sky is the limit. We like to say that we're platform agnostic. And so what we do is we usually schedule a bunch of pitches in a short period of time and take the project out over and do the same pitch to each platform. And what we do is we have a long wait. We usually have to wait anywhere from 5 days to sometimes a few months to hear if someone's interested. And lucky for us, Hulu and Peacock both picked up Madagascar, A Little Wild. It takes almost 2 years for the show to make it to television, and there's a lot of changes that happen along the way. Our television development department hands a show off to current series, and they're the ones that shepherd the show through from the start to the finish. So Madagascar A Little Wild had 52 episodes. So it was in production for almost 3.5 years, making all of the episodes. And things get added and over time, and it just grows into something way more than what we had in development. But what we hope is that in development, we gave the show a really amazing foundation. So I want to play you the promo that we did for the series launch. And if you look closely, you'll probably see how some of the things changed and looked different once it went into television, once it went on TV.
Places, everybody.
Before Madagascar, the zoo crew you love
That's right.
was looking for adventure.
Let's have some serious fun. We'll be back at the zoo before the sun goes down. Let's do this. What? You still haven't washed. To the travel tunnels we go.
Join your favorite friends, Alex, Gloria, Melman, and Marty. As they discover life on the outside.
Together we can do anything. I want that horse. What? You don't want a horse? Guess I should have seen that coming.
Madagascar, A Little Wild, September 7th on Hulu.
Thank you. I like all the clapping. It's really sweet. So across the year in development, we probably pitch 20 or so shows. We have 5 development executives like myself that are consistently developing and pitching projects. And we can each pitch anywhere from 3 to 7 shows a year. And we don't have a time of year that's less busy or more busy. And it's a fun and wild ride working in development. And we're always on the lookout for something new and excited to hear the types of content that kids are interested in. And that is a little bit of insight into TV animation development. And I can stop sharing. If there are any questions, I would love to take them. Do people raise their hand? Jaden? No. Did I work on Puss in Boots? No, I did not work on the Puss in Boots movie. I work in television, but I know people who did work on Puss in Boots. I wish I did. It's my favorite movie. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, The Backyardigans was one of my favorite shows to work on, and Paw Patrol. Are there any other questions? Oh, how old am I? Well, I just had a birthday last month, and I don't mind telling you how old I am. I am 45. So I've been working in animation for 18 years. I started my journey in animation was really great. I started at Nickelodeon as an assistant. So I've been every single title that you can have in animation. I've been an assistant, a coordinator, a manager, a director, and a senior director, and now I am a VP. I think I saw a question. Dreamworks is located in Glendale, California. And we have a beautiful campus with a fountain, and yeah. Wait, oh my gosh. There's lots of questions. Okay, I think I see. Okay. Someone asked me what made me want to work in animation. Is there a way to see the questions? Oh, sorry. Okay, I think that Carolyn asked, how hard is it to pitch a TV show that is based on a famous movie? Do you feel any pressure to keep it as the original to the movie as possible? And that is a fabulous question. And there actually was a lot of pressure. You know, Madagascar is a movie that a lot of people know and a lot of people love. And so we worked hand in hand with the film team to make sure that the embodiment of the characters that we were creating for the television show lined up with the characters from the movie. We also worked with the art director from the movie to make sure that the look of the television show wasn't changing dramatically from the look of the movie. And so there was a lot of pressure, but it was also super exciting to be able to take characters that everyone knows and loves and find a new way to bring them out to the world. There's a question, how different was your experience in children's TV in Nickelodeon versus Dreamworks? That is another great question. So at Nickelodeon, I actually worked more in current series. So once a show was in production, that is when I got to work on it, which is a very different process. It's current series is a constant moving train. You're reading scripts, you're watching animation and animatic and listening to music, and you sort of have a path forward. It's not monotonous, but it's definitely predictable, and you sort of know what you're going to get. And at Dreamworks, I work in development, which is very much left, right, up, and down. I say that in development, we can be going down a road and then we sort of say, hey, what if we took a left-hand turn and looked and saw what was down this way? And then we'll go back again. Because development is all about asking questions and finding the best way to bring a show to life. So they were very different, but mainly because my job was different. I did not work on She-Ra. That was before my time at Dreamworks, although She-Ra is amazing. What made me interested in animation? I wish I could tell you that I was the kid who always wanted to work in animation, but I wasn't. But I've always loved television and music and media. And so my love of animation sort of started when I started working at Nick Jr. and got to see meeting a 4-year-old that loves the shows that you work on is a very rewarding experience, and it just ignites the fire to want to make more. So it's just been one of those things that I've gradually grown to love more and more over my career. Alex asks, next. Do you work closely with the animators and the rest of the team a lot, or are they independent? And that is a great question as well. And it sort of depends on the show. Every show is set up differently. The Madagascar, A Little Wild, had directors and storyboard artists in-house. And then we worked with an animation studio that was based in Vancouver, Canada. So in current series, you work more with those animation studios. We really work with them in development to do something like the animation test that I showed you, which was the music video. So we do get to work with them, but it's more so in current series. How did I get my job at Dreamworks? Well, that's a great question. So I'll start with telling you all how I got my job at Nickelodeon, because I think it's really important to know that persistence is key when you're looking for work. Out of college, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I ended up applying for a lot of jobs at Viacom, which is the company that is Nickelodeon and MTV. And so I applied for every job at the Viacom job site. And I met my boss, Terry Weiss, who hired me as her assistant and Nick Jr. And then when I moved out to Los Angeles, Terry offered me a job at Dreamworks. So that was how I got my job. Do we have any internships, workshops? We have an internship. They actually just posted, I saw on the Dreamworks Instagram account that they are applying for, you can apply for summer internships at Dreamworks now. And I know that there's other things for students to attend. And I don't know what those are, but I know that someone from our HR team can probably help with that. I'm sorry, I don't have the specifics.
Vanessa, do you want me to chime in here on the programs? Yes.
Yes, that would be great.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Rabia. I am on the HR team in recruitment. I oversee the early career programs at our studio. So I saw there's a couple of questions coming in about internships, other opportunities for students. So we have a couple of different programs for students at our studio. All of them can be found on our website, which I did drop in the chat here. It's dreamworks.com/careers. But we have an internship program. And then we have 2 artistic programs specifically for artists. Usually those are geared towards people who are beyond college level, just graduating and beyond. So trainee program and apprentice program. And then we have a program specifically for HBCU college students. Our internship program is probably going to be the one that you all are going to be most interested in. And Vanessa was on the nose with this one. We just posted our summer internships this week. So go ahead and check them out. I will drop the link for where you can kind of find all those jobs. I will say a lot of them are, most of our internships and any job opportunity, you must be 18 years and older to be hired into those positions. If you are still in high school, we do more initiatives where we do invite students to the campus and experience, the studio. That hasn't happened yet post-COVID, so we're kind of figuring out what that's going to look like. But you can find out more information about what those opportunities are on our early careers website. So I will again drop that link here in the chat.
I have to say that our interns get a really great experience at Dreamworks. We really try to immerse them in everything that we do, and they sort of join the team for as long as they're there. And they do presentations and in-depth analyses and join our meetings. And I think I love our interns are fantastic. I will say that my assistant Lily, who is here somewhere, was an intern, and we hired her to work at Dreamworks. So that is a success story in interning. And so there's a question here about advice on getting a job in animation with little to no experience. And so I am a firm believer of, if you're going into the workforce, whether it's that you've graduated high school or you've graduated college, whatever it is, that you just start working. As you heard from my career path, I didn't even tell you that my first job out of college had nothing to do with television and film. My first job out of college was at a diamond company. I was an assistant to the head of marketing and sales for a high-end diamond company in New York City. What they told me was, we sell diamonds to famous people. So that's like working in the entertainment industry. And it just, I am a firm believer in getting a job and meeting people in the industry that you're excited to work in. The animation industry has tons of networking organizations, women in animation, and other types of organizations for students where you can go and network and meet people. And so there's not one direct path to get a job in animation. You just have to be excited and keep at it. I know that sounds like not that fun, but it is worth it. I think we answered the qualifications to be an intern at Dreamworks. I did not work on Bluey. I wish I worked on Bluey. Bluey is one of the best preschool shows, in my opinion, out there right now, even though it's not ours. If you haven't seen Bluey, you should. Is there a special college for animation? I mean, if you are on the visual side of things and more like an artist, director, storyboard artist, there are definitely more colleges geared towards art. I went to University of Wisconsin, which did not have a huge TV and film program when I was there. They didn't even have an animation program. So again, I think it's sort of what you do with your classes once you graduate. But I think if you're more on the artistic, technical side, there are technical colleges that in California and everywhere that have great animation programs. Oh yeah, Rabia answered. Oh, look at all those colleges. Do you want to answer, Rabia, what we're looking for in an artistic portfolio, or?
Yeah, so I kind of answered this in the chat, but it really just depends on what your area focuses. So we have storyboard artists, or visual development artists, or modeling, or animators. So those are all very, very different disciplines, and they each require a very different type of portfolio. So what I put in the chat here is a story portfolio is going to look very different than a biz dev portfolio. So I'm totally going to butcher this name. I'm so sorry, but Ijeoma, if you are an artist of this particular area, feel free to put it in the chat, and then I can kind of give you some more tidbits of what we look for that specific portfolio.
I saw a question about something about how did the TV art start, but I can't find it. Jaden asked what the 12 principles of animation are, and I don't think I know. Are there 12 principles of animation? I don't know what they are. Now I feel like I've failed my class. What is my favorite thing I'm working on? Oh, it's a great question, and it's a question I get asked all the time because, we shouldn't choose favorites, I don't think, but it sort of depends. And I think every project gets to be the favorite at a different point in the process. I think I usually love the favorite. It becomes a favorite when all of a sudden all of the pieces of the show have come into place, because we can spend a lot of time finding out who the characters are and exploring the world and looking at the visual development. And you're sort of just like, is this even a thing that kids are going to like, or that a network is going to want to buy? And at some point it all clicks in together. And that's when it becomes my favorite, because then you have that excited feeling on the inside that you've found something awesome. I will say that I have a show that I developed that's coming out in June of next year, which is one of my favorite projects I've worked on. It's called Not Quite Narwhal. It's based off of a book, and it's about a narwhal. It's about a unicorn who lived underwater and then discovered that he was a unicorn. He didn't know until he met other unicorns in the world. And it has a beautiful message and beautiful art. So that's coming in June onto Netflix. How have I ever experienced crunch? Does that mean like, have I felt pressure? Yes. Yes. There's a lot of pressure. Our, our job at Dreamworks in development for Dreamworks, which is different than other places, not everywhere. Most studios have to pitch and sell their shows. So I think there is, a pressure of like, how, what if this show doesn't sell, or what if we can't sell the show because there's people depending on us. The writers are excited to get their show made, and the other departments at Dreamworks are excited. So I think that there is definitely pressure, but we try, and my philosophy is that my hope when we pitch a show is that we've done everything we can to make it the best product it can be. And if that's what's happened, then I'm pretty happy. I think that is all of the questions. Yeah? Are there any other questions? Best advice for students trying to get into the business. Have passion and excitement and love for what you do. I think in creative industries as a whole, if you don't love the content that you're making, at some point, like that's what will get you through all of the hard days. There are days that I can work 12 hours and get to work at 7 o'clock in the morning and leave work at 9 o'clock at night, or get to work at 8 and leave at 8. And I do that because I love the content that we make. And specifically working in kids television, I think we have a job to make great things for the youngest kids. So I think passion gets you a lot in creative industries, and a hard work ethic, and also being not afraid to ask questions and be a sponge and just learn. Like I said, I've done every job that there is to do, from assistant to vice president. And I think I'm successful now because I took the time to learn and spend time doing things and getting and growing. Okay. I think that's everything. Oh, wait. What did you think is the most difficult part about breaking into animation? Okay. I did not work on SpongeBob. I wish I did, but I didn't. That was for older kids. And so I worked in the preschool team. And I think the most difficult part is that a lot of people want to work in animation, and unfortunately not everybody can do it. And so it's a little bit of luck and a little bit of hard work. And, but I think that there's a lot of different types of jobs that are associated with animation that you can find that maybe aren't exactly what you think they are. I'm assuming a lot of people didn't know what development was. Everyone just probably assumed in animation, you're just a drawer. And so I can't draw at all. And so, but I still get to work in this industry, which is great. Is there a specific job for character designer? Yeah, character designers usually fall under visual development artists. So we work with freelance artists sometimes for visual development, and then once you're on a show, there's visual development artists that you can work on for a series. When adapting from external sources or other companies or the corporate. Oh, that's a really great question. I'll take books as an example. When we option a book, there are some authors who want to be heavily involved in the adaptation of their book to television. And then there are some who just want us to show them what we've been doing and give us their blessing, and we go off and just sort of check in with them on a regular basis. I worked on a show called Go Dog Go, which is a book from the author P.D. Eastman, which is about 60 years old. And they were heavily involved. The estate of the author was heavily involved, as was the publishing company for the book. So we met with them on a regular basis and got approval for them on everything that we did. So it sort of depends. Okay. Now I think we're done. Yeah? I don't know how we end. Who makes the decision?
I believe it's you.
I get to make the decision. That's a lot of pressure. I just want to make sure we answered all the questions. Oh, wait, there's one more. It's about preschool because that's what I do and I want to answer it. So I'm going to answer one more question and then I'm done. The challenges of working in preschool versus other animation. You know, preschool animation is niche. It's very niche, and people don't think that you can have it can be funny or beautiful or epic. And I think that's the hardest thing is showing people that preschool television is just as amazing and awesome as shows for kids older. And yes, there is a job that we have to do to make sure that we're creating content that is suitable for kids 2 to 5 because their brains are developing and they don't know all the things that other kids know, older kids know. And so we hire consultants and work with them to make sure that we are creating things that are at the level of a preschooler, but not talking down to them. And I think that that's the biggest challenge. Okay. I had to end on a preschool question. Thank you, everybody. That was so great. Thanks for all your questions. They were fantastic.